Hi, everyone. Welcome to Awaken into Love. If you are listening to this on a podcast episode or our YouTube channel, welcome. This is the place to be if you're looking for any type of empowering and holistic information all on relationship anxiety, relationship OCD, and conscious and awakened relationships. There was a series that I did on Instagram a couple weeks ago all about a person who experiences ROCD and the difference between them and a person who doesn't. And I did this specific series to just kind of magnify and show people the magnitude of what it's like to really suffer with ROCD. There were so many people commenting saying, "Oh my God, Kiyomi, I feel like you really understand what I go through." And other people who are partners starting to really understand almost the intensity of ROCD and what it's like to be in the shoes of someone who does experience such incessant and obsessive thoughts or anxiety or just heightened states of doubt. So if you haven't seen the series, check that out on Instagram. I kind of made it in like a comical, humorous way, but I almost wanted to sit down today and just talk to you in a little bit more of a deep way to show you really the difference between someone who experiences ROCD and someone who doesn't. What does a person really go through? What is it like to be in their shoes? And how we can use this understanding to bring more compassion to ourselves and the world. And what I really want to say as we start this video or this episode is to watch out if you experience any forms of comparison or go into black or white thinking. Because what we can really do as humans, especially if we experience ROCD and obsessive thinking, is start to really narrow our experience down almost into a checklist where we tell ourselves, okay, if we are experiencing these things, then we definitely have ROCD, and we start to get anxious when we notice that there are things within the checklist that are missing. So please take this video with a grain of salt, and again, use what is empowering to you and discard the rest, because that's what my information here is for. It's not here to compulsively reassure you to say, hey, if you have these things and you definitely have ROCD and you're in the clear, which is actually a topic I talked about in Kick a couple of months ago, which I'll be revisiting again in our Kick Circle starting in August. But it is something that I just want you to take into consideration as you're watching this video. It is not in any way a way for you to say, okay, Kiyomi said these things and that means I have ROCD, because in reality, as we work through this journey of ROCD, we actually want to start to let go of this identification with it. But there is a huge reality that a lot of people with ROCD and without ROCD don't see about what it really is like to suffer with the obsessive thoughts and with obsessive feelings that can come up within an individual. And what I want to dive into first is this quote that I remember by Byron Katie, where she talked about the fact that as humans, we all have recycled thoughts, feelings, and sensations. There is not one person in the world who has a unique, special thought that another person did not experience. And the difference between someone who experiences suffering from a thought and someone who doesn't is the shame and the guilt that a person has about the feeling. So this is something that I really want you to keep in mind, especially with ROCD, which is that a lot of times what tends to create so much suffering with an individual who experiences ROCD is really the shame and the guilt that comes up. And I know that sometimes when we're working with that guilt and the shame, that can be really, really tricky, because we can start to feel like, oh my God, why do I have this guilt and shame on top of the guilt and shame, which is typically called the second arrow within the whole context of suffering. But it's really the difference between someone who has ROCD and someone who doesn't, which is the shame and the guilt on top of it. So understanding that people around the world also experience the same exact thoughts and feelings as you, but they don't have ROCD, is something I just want you to think about for a moment. There are people down the street, next door, who literally have the same exact thoughts as you, but they do not suffer. So the big difference between someone who is suffering from these thoughts and someone who is not is, again, the shame and the guilt, and also the fear that there is something wrong with the thoughts that they're experiencing, or they give a lot of energy to believing that the thoughts must be true or that they need to do something about the thoughts. So this is something that I want to kind of give up as an example, which is someone who has ROCD might have the thought that says, I don't love my partner. It might just come up in their brain and they think that thought. That person with ROCD will take that thought and multiply it into a place of shame, into a place of guilt. They will start to ask themselves, why did I have that thought? And they will go into obsessive thinking and try to remove that thought as much as possible and go into all these compulsions so they don't ever have that thought or feeling again. Now, someone else might have the same exact thought that says, I don't love my partner, or what if I don't love my partner? They might be curious about it, might give it a little bit of attention, or might introspect on it. And also, this is a really, really crucial point. Give that thought time and space and a place of curiosity to come up again. So they might have the thought that says, what if I don't love my partner? And they might pause and say, that's an interesting thought. Or they might go into the little bit of a rabbit hole and think, I wonder why I thought that thought. Oh, that's a weird thought. Oh, well, I haven't been feeling like I've been loving my partner. And they might drop the thought. The difference between someone with ROCD and someone who doesn't is that the person with ROCD will take that thought and catastrophize it. They will go into black or white thinking and go into a place of shame and guilt and believe that that thought is specifically wrong. So that is a really, really big emphasis that I want you guys to remember. A person with ROCD takes something very, very innocent that everyone in the world experiences and believes that that thought is a really big problem and something that they need to fix. Some of you might be saying, okay, Kiyomi, I get that. Like, I have different thoughts. They come in, they come out. But what about the feelings that feel so real? The feelings that say, well, I don't love my partner. Well, it's really true that I don't think that I want to be within my partnership. A person with ROCD will take that and create again something very catastrophic and say, well, if that feeling is there, then that must mean it's true and I must need to break up with my partner and have so much grief over it. A person who doesn't have ROCD will take that feeling and say, maybe I don't love my partner. I'm not really sure. And they will again contemplate it, but they will bring in more of a sense of spaciousness, awareness, and curiosity where they might take that exact feeling and communicate with their partner within it in a loving way without a sense of urgency, without a sense of an emergency. And those are kind of really big key characteristic points within someone who experiences ROCD and someone who doesn't, which is someone who experiences ROCD usually believes that what they are thinking and what they're feeling is an emergency situation. It is completely urgent and needs to be figured out right now, which is why in a lot of cases when we're working with individuals, we give them this opportunity to say, maybe give this thought a week, give it a month, and see if it still feels urgent. Because what a lot of people with ROCD will do is that they'll have a specific thought and it'll feel so urgent that they feel that they need to act upon it in that moment and in that instant. Now, why does that happen? There's so many different psychological reasons as to why a person might feel a sense of urgency with that specific thought, but they again believe that they are not supposed to be thinking that specific thought. That 2, if they have that thought, then they will act upon it. 3, they are bad for thinking that thought. And 4, they are having a really hard time regulating their nervous system. So when a person has a dysregulated nervous system or a regulated nervous system in that moment, because it's not like as people we are dysregulated or not, when they're having that in that moment, then they will feel the sense of needing to control something so that nervous system feels better. So a dysregulated nervous system is basically someone who is feeling really anxious or depressed or feeling numb, or they're feeling avoidant, or they're feeling a sense of urgency or something bad is going to happen. And they feel as though they need to do something in order to make themselves feel better. So that's really what someone who with ROCD is experiencing. They're really experiencing deep down a dysregulated nervous system. And what they're trying to do is regulate that nervous system through trying to push away the obsessive thoughts, believing that they push away the obsessive thoughts or they take it away that they'll feel better, or try to control something within their partnership so they start to feel better. So this again is really about a dysregulated nervous system and a regulated nervous system and the difference of both. So understanding that difference, but also understanding that these thoughts that we have are so normal and so human, but the biggest difference is our emphasis and our urgency and our sense of emergency around it can be really relieving for a lot of people, because something that really changed my life was a time when I remember talking to Joel and saying to him, hey, I feel like I find other people attractive, and really feeling guilty and shameful about it. And I remember him shrugging his shoulders and saying, same, and moving on. And that was really like this light bulb moment to me, where I realized that people with ROCD have the same exact thoughts, have the same feelings, but they don't put a label of urgency or emergency on it. It's almost as though they can kind of let that thought go into the abyss and say, that was an interesting thought. Maybe I will revisit it later. Maybe this is something important that I can contemplate on for 5 minutes, and kind of let that go. Or see that thought, notice that it keeps coming up, and creatively decide to take action on it versus having a sense of urgency and anxiety. That's something that I really want you guys to kind of keep in mind as we're working through ROCD, which is a very big hallmark in terms of having ROCD, which is the sense of urgency and the sense of emergency that can come up or feel as though it can come up when we're experiencing ROCD. So I got many different topic requests where people were asking, hey, Kiyomi, can you talk about attractive person versus someone who doesn't? And someone who tends to find someone attractive might see someone walking down the street, might turn around and say, oh, wow, that person is really attractive. They might follow that thought and say, I wonder if that person is single. That person looks really good. Wow, I wish my girlfriend wore those type of jeans. They might move on in that moment, or they might continue to fantasize a little bit, decide to entertain the thought, and then let that go. Versus a person with ROCD might see an attractive person, stop in that moment, feel a sense of panic or feel a sense of sexual attraction to that person, which is very, very normal. But that sexual attraction will almost be heightened because they are giving so much emphasis to the feeling. They will pause and say, oh my God, I'm finding that person attractive. What is wrong with me? That is the shame that comes in. Then they might go into guilt to say, oh my God, I shouldn't be finding that person attractive. I feel so bad. Third part is going then into a place of trying to stop that feeling that they're feeling because they're feeling as though what they're experiencing, which is human, is wrong. So in order to stop that feeling, they might go to their partner and say, okay, they're attractive. They're still attractive. Okay, I'm still finding them attractive. Or they might try to suppress that thought by trying to tell themselves that that person isn't attractive. Or they might Google and compulsively ask Google if it's normal to find other people attractive. So there's a lot of other ways that a person with ROCD can go into to try to regulate their nervous system. Again, we're working with regulation versus dysregulation. And when a person is feeling dysregulated, which means anxious, which means obsessive, they're trying to feel better. And in order to feel better, they believe that they need to obsess more or they need to go into some sort of compulsion. Let's bring in the example of like an ex. So this is someone who doesn't experience ROCD and they're thinking about their ex. They will most likely see someone that reminds them of their ex and think, oh, that person reminds me of my ex. And they will either move on or entertain the thought, which is okay, and say, I wonder how my ex is doing. I might look on Facebook to see how they're doing because I'm curious, because I've cared about this person for a long time, and there still might be love within their heart for that person. That can be very shocking for someone with ROCD to understand that. But yes, there can always be care and love for persons they might have been with for a while. Now, someone with ROCD might see a person that reminds them of the ex. They'll again go into a place of panic and say, why am I thinking about my ex? Again, the wrongness comes in where they start to make their experience wrong, make the sensations that are so innocent and so just human something wrong. And they might say, there's something wrong with me for thinking about my ex. Why am I thinking about my ex? Does that mean I have to leave my partner? Does that mean that I shouldn't be with my partner? And in order to feel better, they will go into a specific compulsion, such as confessing to their partner that they saw their ex or they thought about their ex, which is to relieve the guilt temporarily. Or they might again Google to see if it's okay to think about their ex. Or they might actually look for their ex and Google their ex to see if they still have attraction toward them. Again, it is a way to regulate the nervous system. That's again what we're working with, regulation and dysregulation. So let's say that someone is sitting with their partner and all of a sudden they have a sense of disgust. This is someone who doesn't experience ROCD. They might think, oh, my partner is not looking good today. Oh, that's probably not the best that I'm thinking that, but they don't really look good. Should I tell them that I don't like them in that shirt? Oh, I'm not sure if that's a good idea. That might hurt their feelings, but maybe I'll let them know later that I like that dress instead. That's one way to approach the situation when someone who is looking at their partner and has a sense of disgust doesn't have ROCD. Now, this is someone who does have ROCD. They look at their partner, they see a shirt that they're wearing, and they feel a sense of disgust. Or they're sitting with their partner and they're feeling a sense of disgust, and they go into, oh my God, why am I feeling a sense of disgust? What is wrong with me? Oh my God, I feel so disconnected. Oh, my partner's starting to feel like a stranger. Why do I feel this way? Oh my God, did I feel this way before? Why is this thought coming up again? I keep having this thought. If I keep having this thought and sensation, it must mean that there's something wrong with my relationship and I must leave my partner. Many of you might already be noticing that what I'm coming to at the end of the obsessive thought is this fear that I need to leave my partner and that I'm going to lose my partner. And I've talked about this over and over again in the ROCD Academy and community, which is the level 1 part of finding freedom from ROCD, which is that at the core of a lot of these obsessive thoughts is the fear that you are going to lose your partner. And that's why the obsessions start to continue, with this feeling that you are not able to control this feeling that's coming up, or that there's something wrong with you. Again, a person with ROCD in that experience will typically spiral and go into feelings of blame and shame toward themselves over something that is so normal. Now we're going to go into the context of dreams, and I'm going to go into someone who experiences dreams, and they're experiencing a dream of an attractive person. They might wake up and think, oh, wow, I was really turned on in my dream. I really found that person attractive. That was kind of hot. And they might let that go. They might fantasize. They might go into something creative. They might bring that to their partner and say, I had this dream that I was really attracted to this person. Do you think we could do some role play? And then that's it. A person with ROCD will take that dream. They will wake up and they'll say, oh my God, I had a dream that I was with someone attractive. Is that my truth deep down, or my subconscious telling me that I need to leave my partner? Does that mean that I'm not attracted to my partner? Does that mean that I need to tell my partner that I had a dream of someone that I don't know that I found attractive, and I need to confess that to them to make me feel better about myself? So a person with ROCD will start going into all of these obsessive thoughts and this anxiety about how they feel or how they shouldn't feel, because they again feel a sense of guilt, a sense of shame, to relieve the feeling that they are experiencing so they feel better, so they can regulate their nervous system. Again, I want to emphasize on the regulation and dysregulation, because our people with ROCD try to regulate their nervous system through compulsive actions that actually are only a temporary relief. It is not getting to the root cause of what is really going on. So that's something to keep in mind. Here is another example of maybe someone feeling a sense of in love or not feelings. So let's say you are with your coworker and all of a sudden you are feeling really attracted to them and you're feeling this magnetic pull. This is someone without ROCD. This is just an example. They might feel really attracted to the person next to them. They say, ooh, I'm feeling the sense of chemistry between the both of us. Damn, this is really hot chemistry. Oh my God, I probably shouldn't be feeling this way because I'm with my partner, and I probably shouldn't entertain the thought. I don't think I'm really going to be hanging out with this coworker anymore because I'm starting to feel myself feeling attracted and feeling drawn to this person, even though I'm in a relationship. And they might let that go, or they might entertain the thought a little bit and then again let that go. Now, this is really hard for a person with ROCD, because a person with ROCD tends to feel really scared when they find other people attractive. Or something innocent like such as attraction or having feelings for another person can start to spiral into feeling as though there's something wrong with them, or feeling as though they need to leave their partner. So this is an example of someone with ROCD, where they're with someone attractive, they're with their attractive coworker, they're starting to have feelings, they're starting to have chemistry, and they start to go, oh my God, I'm feeling that feeling again. Oh my God, I should completely avoid this person. Oh my God, I should probably quit my job and never look at this person again. Or I'm going to continually check to see if I'm attracted to this person, to see if that feeling will go away. They will do all of these things to basically avoid an attractive person, instead of allowing that sexual energy, which is so normal, to move through them or use it in another creative means. So those are just a couple of different examples. Of course, I can't go into all of the examples of different type of themes that people experience with ROCD or different type of feelings, but that's just really my way to show you the difference between someone who experiences ROCD and someone who doesn't, not to bring in a sense of like a negative comparison, but to show you again and again that these thoughts and these feelings are so freaking normal and so innocent. But what makes it so scary is the trauma we've experienced. And again, the guilt and the shame and the obsessive thoughts that can come with something so innocent. Your body and your mind are literally asking you and begging you to go into a place of compassion, to come into a place of understanding that what you're experiencing is okay. And the reason as to why it keeps coming up over and over and over again is because you believe in some way that you can stop these feelings, which you can't, and make them go away, but more so to control them so you stop feeling a sense of guilt, fear, and maybe grief underneath the experience of the obsessive thought. So I hope in some way this video was helpful for you. I loved doing this series all on Instagram, and I'll probably keep continuing it, but I just kind of wanted to show you the difference. And especially if you're someone who doesn't experience ROCD and you're the partner and you're really curious, I hope this video was somehow informative for you. Before I end this video, I do want to let you know something really big that's happening. In August, we're starting up Kiyomi's Inner Circle again, which is my inner circle called Kick, where we all come together in a group in a very private, exclusive, and intimate setting to talk all about ROCD, relationship anxiety, and conscious awakened relationships. If you are really looking for support, you are not able to have therapy, really wanting to dive in and meet more people with ROCD, you're wanting to get my support, you're wanting to find more freedom faster and in a very safe container, then I highly recommend you joining Kick. It is such a great experience and it's been absolutely amazing, and there's been people who have literally joined Kick from the beginning, were completely down in the relationship, and toward the end they're engaged and some of them even married. So it's been an incredible experience. Again, we start in August. If you are interested, I highly recommend you getting a slot, because there's not going to be many slots available, because we're making this specific Kick group super small, because I can help people better and because it becomes more intimate and more exclusive and private for people. So if you're interested, please email us at support@awakenintolove.com with the title Kick, and we will see inside, or we'll just put you on the wait list. If you are not ready to join Kick yet, that is so okay. If you are new, you can just download the free ROCD checklist, or you can go to awakenintolove.com and click the ROCD course and community and go down and enjoy the level 1 of the ROCD Academy and community, where I talk so much more about all of what I talked to today, and with different exercises and different techniques to really help you along the journey of ROCD, relationship anxiety, and coming more into deeper fulfillment with your partner in a conscious and awakened relationship. Again, I hope this video or this podcast episode was helpful for you. And if you don't follow us on Instagram, you can check out more of the reels, all on people with ROCD and people with not. This, again, is just being human. Here's to being human. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.